Thank you for coming out tonight. We really appreciate it. It's been a long time since we've been in front of the community. We're excited to be back here today. We're going to go through a brief presentation today, just from an overview perspective, and we're going to do some introductions of the team here. We have an unbelievable team of professionals that we've brought to the table to execute on this vision. So we're really excited about them, and they're the ones that are going to be driving this. We're going to talk about our goals. All of our goals have stayed the same. How that translates into the buildings and the spaces has changed a little bit. But what's really exciting for us is I do see some familiar faces here from some of our historical meetings. A lot of what you see today has been influenced by the feedback we've received from the community over the past, what is coming up on 6 years, believe it or not. So we're excited to be back, and we think you're really going to like what you have to see. We're going to go a little bit through where we are in the entire development process and where we're going. We're going to hit on some updates to the proposal. And then we have set up 4 distinct stations with different focal points, which we'll get into. And that's really where the lion's share of the communication and the Q&A will occur after. So we have subject matter experts that will be dedicated to each of the 4 stations and can answer any question that can come up. And then we'll, of course, be able to take some Q&A from the audience if need be. I'm going to kick it over to Cheryl and her team to give a brief introduction and hello from the district.
Well, thank you very much. I'm so glad to see all of you, so many familiar faces. Actually, I'm nervous as I've ever been because I haven't talked to anybody in person now for almost 3 years. So I'm so glad, too, that I actually took notes, because our board chair was going to do this intro, and he has a day job that caused him to have to be somewhere in the valley, and he's driving up, and he'll get here around 7, so I get to do the honors. It's a pleasure to welcome you all here. It's a huge, big, special project that the district's been working on with these great partners, and we very much look forward to your feedback. This is really it's crunch time. Let's really make sure we're on the same page. I hope you can see this. I'm glad I made notes because I never dreamed that I wouldn't be able to look at the slides, but I hope you can see that. It's the outline of our map. It shows you the boundaries of the district. Essentially, it starts, there's a little finger of South City, and then it goes completely south through San Bruno, Millbrae, Burlingame, Hillsborough, San Mateo, and half of Foster City. Why half of Foster City, you might ask? Because it didn't exist when they drew the line. They just drew a line, and the city grew up around it. This is an old picture I found in the archives, but what I wanted to share with some of you that may not be familiar with the district, we've been around for 73 years. Wow. And our mandate is a state mandate. We're a political subdivision of the state. Our board is 5 elected officials, and I have a pleasure to introduce one of those distinguished officials in the back of the room, Mr. Frank Pagliaro, who is a member of our board, secretary of the board, but if you're a longtime Burlingamians, is that the right word? Then you may know him as a former mayor and council member of Burlingame. The role of our mandate is to take care of the health needs of our community. Our role here with the PWC, or the Peninsula Wellness Community, it's our land that we manage on behalf of all our taxpayers. So the land that's involved is district land, it's taxpayer land. And what do we plan, or what's really our role for the PWC? Well, the district owns the land, and we plan to continue to retain the ownership of the land. And we also want to make sure that and ensure that what goes on that land and what we provide from that land is a community benefit and promotes the health and wellness of our residents. I think the next slide, who's going to go on slides here? Now, for some of you that wonder what the district really is, what the district really does, or what have you done for us lately, I would want to take just a few minutes of your time to review a video that our team put together, and primarily the young lady that's videoing this, Stephanie Arevalo Rodriguez, is the main author and creator of this video, that will share with those of you that have been around since the hospital was built. It might jog some memories. And for those who are fairly new, or for those who wonder what we've been doing, I hope it'll answer that wonderful question, what have you done for us lately? So less than 3-minute video, but if you wouldn't mind starting that, whoever is in control of the magic here.
Let's see if this works. Oh my gosh. Technology.
So while he's doing that, what it's going to tell you briefly, because we slowed it down so you could read the slides, but on our Well, I hope you can see some of that and appreciate some of that. I hope your takeaway is that we've done a lot and we make every effort to look at all of our residents, the needy, all of us, the children, mental health, dental health, physical health, and that's what we're all about. But we're here to talk about the Peninsula Wellness Community. And our vision for that is that we're going to be creating a paradigm of care where seniors can live a healthy life and remain connected to each other, connected to their community, and connected to care. The vision we had for the program, and since it's on the slide, normally I just speak extemporaneously, but I want to make sure I don't say words that aren't on the slide here. Our vision is that the seniors will have mixed income levels and live independently in a location close to a hospital, world-class hospital and a medical office building, next to a hub of community benefit services and public space open to all ages and all residents of the district. So what's the home, the residences are there for those who live there, but everything else is really part to serve the entire community. So with that, I do want to acknowledge that the board chair did arrive. I don't know how fast he drove or what, and he has deferred saying anything at this time, but I want to acknowledge Dr. Lawrence Capel, who just arrived from his work, and thank you, Larry, and I'm going to turn it over to Jake.
Thanks, Cheryl. So we spoke about the team. You know, this is an opportunity here in Burlingame that really doesn't exist anywhere else. We're a healthcare developer with PMB. That's our company. We do this all over the country, and I can say unequivocally with no reservation that we do not have a project that we've ever done or know about that has the type of potential to make an impact like what we're talking about today. So that's something really easy to get excited about. To be able to execute on that, you need to bring the right team to the table. So we're thrilled with the partnership that we have brought to the table through the district's process, dating back 6 years now. There's a couple of us from PMB, which won't introduce individuals, we're going to introduce firms. Generations, so PMB is the healthcare developer. Generations is here this evening. Chip Gabriel is the CEO, and he'll be the co-developer and operator of the market rate seniors housing community. We have MidPen here, a number of representatives from MidPen, too many to name. Phenomenal organization, very well known in the Bay Area. They do incredible work in the affordable housing space. Two fantastic architects. We have Smith Group and David Baker Associates, both represented here as well. And then finally, we brought a new partner in, Magical Bridge, also represented this evening. And I would encourage you all to go to the station that talks about the public open space, because what Magical Bridge does in the communities is absolutely incredible. It's really, really great work. So project goals, I'm going to hand it off here to my colleague, Ben Rosenfeld.
Thanks, Jake. Ben Rosenfeld here with PMB. So we just wanted to kind of restate what the vision is here, and kind of at its core, it's really having a vibrant and active community. And what that means is, really creating physical and mental wellness spaces, providing the clinical component in the medical office building, and providing those vital clinical services to the community. It also includes, providing housing for all ranges of incomes, as you'll see later on, and the MidPen team can provide more detail on that as well. And then really vital component of it is having really interactive indoor and outdoor community amenities and spaces, which if you go to the station right over there during the Q&A, you can learn a lot more about those exciting landscape and amenities. So what I want to talk a little bit now is the process here, and kind of where we are and where we've been. So as you can see, let's see, is this little, it does not work. This is, for all of us, this has been a labor of love, and inspired by the vast potential of this project that Jake Rowe spoke of earlier. So we were awarded the project in 2017, and really since then we've been working with the healthcare district to refine our site area. We've had many of these community outreach meetings, as well as the healthcare district has been informing the public about the progress on this since we've been involved. And really this vision started many years before we were involved with the healthcare district, and Cheryl helped leading that. So as you can see on this next bar here, this community-led outreach started in 2017. We're here today in 2022. It's going to continue all the way through. So this isn't meant to be an endpoint in terms of our developer-led community outreach, because as you can see on this bottom bar here, PHCD, the healthcare district, will be providing updates every step of the way as we work through the city approval process, further design, and then hope to start construction in 2025. Jake mentioned it earlier. One of the really proud and exciting components of our project, which was really us taking feedback from many of you in the community, was really this date in early 2019, late 2018, when we were able to work with the district and bring MidPen on to this project. And we're proud to have them as a partner here. And I know that Andrew wanted to jump in as well and say a couple words.
Yeah, thanks, Ben. My name's Andrew Belak. I'm from MidPen, and MidPen is an affordable housing developer that's based here in San Mateo County. So we build projects that are 100% for low-income people, and we're a nonprofit, and not only do we build, but we also own and operate and provide resident services for the long term. So that's the core of our mission and what we do. I want to acknowledge the input and the feedback that the community provided to this development process early on that really helped create the opportunity to bring a substantial amount of affordable housing to this project. And the work that was put into that effort, and the team here that's speaking to you today, all collectively agrees that it has made the project and the proposal that we're bringing something that makes the project much more appealing and makes it the best possible project, and really provides the best mix of units that are at a range of incomes. And we have a slide later to talk a little bit more about the details, and we can hear about that during the the board session as well. With units at a range of incomes, with a project that ensures financial stability for the long term, that ensures the district is meeting its mission, and ensures that people from across the community at many different income levels have the opportunity to live here. So I know that it's been a few years since you've heard from us, and we're excited to be back here today and continue to take that input. And really, we're excited to be part of a project that provides so many different amenities to the public, to the residents, through things like open space, through community center, through retail, and through office and access to healthcare. So thank you very much, and I'm going to turn it back over to Ben, and I'll be available to talk more during the session afterwards, as well as some other Mid-Penn folks who are here.
Thanks, Andrew. So again, there'll be a station with the actual designers and experts that put this plan together, but I just want to briefly go through really what are the physical structures of the PWC. So on the top left there, you can see that this building it's one structure with kind of two distinct programs. One will be a medical office building that will have community clinical services, and the other on the right over here, this component will embody the hub. And the hub is a completely public-focused building, and we have folks here that have been working through the program, and we hope to get your input tonight on other programs and services that could be provided in the hub as well. But it really is kind of the heartbeat of the entire community, and we're really proud of kind of the progress that we've made on that. As you can also see, there's this Paseo that connects the service drive from Sutter's campus all the way to Marco Polo Way, which will connect the hub to the senior living facility, to the affordable housing site, and then also it'll connect to the Hetch Hetchy easement area, which we again have a focus zone in that direction where we can talk with our landscape architect and a link with Magical Bridges about the potential of those programs. And then, as I mentioned earlier, we have the market rate senior living. This will still have a 10% affordable component. And then we have the all affordable seniors housing. This is the Mid-Penn component of the project. So focusing a little bit more on some kind of 3D views and perspectives. Just to reorient you, we have the medical office building. We have Generations Market Rate Seniors Housing, and then Mid-Penn's project. And as you can see here, our building kind of has the medical office building and hub building has sort of a funky shape, and that was influenced by the flight path. We think it actually kind of enhances the architecture. And then also here shown in this perspective, you can see the Hetch Hetchy between the two seniors housing buildings as well. So one thing that we want to talk about is, we as Jake mentioned earlier, it's been a couple years since we've been here and got out of our sweatpants and put on our jackets, and we're and we're here to talk about what remains the same, because really not much has changed from the original vision. So what we have is the hub of health benefits will provide services open to all ages and community residents. There will be a medical office building. We had that before, we have that now. We have housing provided at a range of income levels. We've had that since Mid-Penn came onto the project in late 2017. And then the vision really hasn't changed. It's an intergenerational mixed use and mixed income community focused on health, wellness, and community connectivity. So this is a slide that we're really, really proud of, to be honest. So what you see here is the total number, and we all know that there is housing and security issues and that there is a housing crisis. And what we did in our project is we decreased the size of the medical office building, but we also, since our original vision back in 2017, we actually increased the total number of housing units by 2 units. And more importantly, we increased the number of affordable housing units by 137 units, which is a 464% increase. An increase. So we have 175. It's an increase of what we had before. We have 38. So Jake, do you want to talk through the run of house?
Yeah, so we're, as Ben mentioned, I mean, at the end of the day, decreasing the density of the development from a mass, bulk, and scale perspective, size of buildings, and increasing the affordability. So of the residential units in the campus, 46% will be affordable. And we have not seen any sort of development in the country that comes close to that. That's a public-private partnership with the, so we're really excited about that. So that wraps up kind of this portion of the evening. We do have 4 stations set up as we've discussed, and we restructured our layout here a little bit to fit the room. So we have a station that's dedicated to the vision, and process. So how did we get to where we are? Where are we now? What does it look like going forward? That station is going to be located over here by the food. We have another station that is dedicated to the hub and the community benefits that will come with that. That station is over here by Cheryl and Alexis in the corner. The third station talks really about the medical office and the senior housing components, the design, site plan, the elevations. That station is back here near Bill and the other Alexis. And then finally, we have a station that's dedicated to the open space. I believe we have about 2.2 acres of open space that'll be freely accessible to the public. That's over a dedicated Hetchy easement. And that's over here near Frank. Right, Frank, if you could put your hand up. Right behind Frank, there's a board there, so we're happy to jump into that. We have experts at each one. We can, if there are questions that want to be asked now, that's fine. I saw a hand go up already. And then after we get through that portion, we can then go and ask individual questions and stay for some time on each of the specific topics.
So
Yes.
my question was whether we were going to reconvene as a group later on, or, because I did, I heard your reference to the hub and your interest in getting feedback on what should be included. So I'm interested in what the current thinking is about what we're building in the hub. What is the range of possibility for the hub?
Yeah.
I mean, so I don't know the.
Sure.
but-
No, it's a great question. So we're at the beginning stage of this. Cheryl and her team have led quite a bit of community outreach with some of their partners and community members in the district's area. Right now, there's nothing that's set in stone, and there's also nothing that's off the table. We want to make sure we get the right mix of uses in that building that supports the community. There are also practical considerations like who will operate it, how does that function. We need to think about different uses, maybe being open different times of day. So with that, there comes security and other operational and logistical issues. So at this point, that is part of what today is. We have a bunch of sticky notes that people can write down their ideas for the community hub over here near Alexis. And we're looking for feedback. Cheryl will be able, and Alexis will be able to communicate a lot of what has been discussed thus far. And then, that's part of the reason why we're here. So we appreciate your feedback. Yes?
Can you give a little bit more detail about how affordable is being defined? What the metrics are?
Absolutely. The question was a little more detail around the definition of affordable within the community.
Yeah, so as the representative from Midpen, I'm probably best suited to answer that question. So The basic definition of affordable is that you're determining rent based on somebody's income. So the general rule of thumb is about 30% of rent of somebody's income should be spent on rent, and it shouldn't be higher than that. And that's the general target of what the affordability is supposed to be. When MidPenn builds affordable projects, we are always regulated to say, by those determinations that say, if we are going to provide affordable units, we follow state and often local requirements through funding sources that we get that say, this is what you have to do to make it affordable. What that means typically is that affordability is determined based on the area median income. So in this case, 80% of the area median income is what's considered the maximum that you could offer units at for them to be considered affordable. We offer units at a sliding scale. So some people may be earning only 30% of what an area median income is, or sometimes even lower. But the absolute maximum people can earn is up to 80% of the area median income. So that practically translates to rents that are far below market. You could have rents, for example, for a studio that are low as, or one bedroom that are in the $1,000 to $1,500 range. Sometimes they're substantially lower if people also have access to project-based vouchers that we seek to also get awarded as part of the project. You have some units that are going to be in the higher range at the level at different income ranges. So it really much depends upon unit size and the affordability that we're targeting at particular units. So I'm happy to talk more about that question, but they're all regulated by state and local bodies that say this is what's considered an affordable unit.
Yes.
Are you guys addressing the Michelson pool, the warm therapy pool? Is that part of this project?
Yeah, so the question was, are we addressing the Michelson pool, the warm therapy pool, as part of the project? Thank you for bringing that up. Both the fitness component and the pool component are being contemplated, and we're looking at that to put into the hub. So that station will have a lot of detail, but the answer is yes, that is being considered absolutely for the hub. Yes.
This is my first time here, so
Welcome.
sorry.
Thank you for coming.
Naive question, but have you done some sort of survey about medical offices and the need for a new building in this area? We live a half a block from that. We use the hospital, we use the medical offices across the street, Alfred and Real. Why do you need a new medical office building?
Yeah, so as we all know, there's we're all aging. You can't stop father
Hopefully
time.
we won't be in the medical offices, we'll be on the courts.
There you go. Exactly. So there's a lot of data that we have, our company has, into the demand for services in a given market, down to the level of even like individual insurance claims, so we can understand what's being used. Every market is very different. For example, the rate of women having children in Salt Lake City is very different than it is in New York City at, say, age 27, for example. So what we don't do is take national averages. We look very specifically, and this area is blessed with unbelievable healthcare providers in the market. It's one of the best healthcare markets in the country in terms of options, and we're excited to work with the medical office building and some potential tenants there to put the appropriate services that complement what's in place and don't compete. Yes.
Let me dovetail off that. What I hear you saying, I'm hoping I hear you say that that the medical care will be put out to bid. It's not automatically going to Sutter, for example.
So the medical office building, our company will own that facility, and we will look for tenants to come into that building. There's an existing ground lease that is in place already on the property that is held by the district. The Sutter Hospital is on the ground lease, so Sutter does not own the land.
Right.
They own the hospital, and they
Right.
pay for the hospital. So there's existing criteria that we have to work within of the existing ground lease, which defines non-competes and other things. But it is not exclusively necessarily dedicated to Sutter, but there are existing ground lease restrictions that provide anti-competitive language that's already in place.
Okay.
Yes.
I live on Clarice Lane, and we have two situations.
parking is one, and how tall the building's gonna be?
Yeah, so the building heights, I don't have specific, like, number of feet off the top of my
You know, how many
head.
stories? You know,
Yeah, number of stories we have between, Alexis or Bill, help me out, 4 and 5 stories, depending on where it is. And the station we have back here, right straight back, we can go detail on each building, how tall each section, because certain buildings have a component that's 4 stories, and another component is 3, or one component's 5, and others that are 4, so it varies.
So to that, is it a possibility that, you know, like a lot of times when they have buildings out on the electric train coming down, they have this orange netting up there so you can see what the height of it would be? Is that possible to have that on the site also before construction, so we have some input as to, you know, how that impacts our neighborhood?
Yeah, so just to be clear, so everything that we do, we're you know, I'm sorry, the question was the possibility to get what are defined as like story poles or something that illustrates the height of the proposed buildings. Everything that we do, that we've done and we will do will be in compliance with the, you know, local and, you know, all
Is that
local
a
jurisdictions.
compliant use?
That's not a requirement, but we'd be happy to consider that. We're a ways away from construction. Obviously, a lot more input, a lot more city process. We have not even submitted a formal application to the city, so we've received no feedback from them. So there'll be many points in the future to get feedback and give feedback.
So who can I talk to in the city to make sure that that happens?
Probably anybody.
I'm gonna be sticking with
Okay.
here.
Oh, we understand.
Because, you know, this has been our neighborhood, this has been where we've lived since 1954, and, you know, this is really impacting us, so.
No, I completely understand. Yeah, we'd be happy to give you the name of the main planner at the city.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
Erica Lewitt is her name.
What
Erica
about
Lewitt.
parking?
And we can
What about parking?
Parking will all be code required, so there are different code requirements from the city based on the use. So for example, a medical office building has a different code requirement than a senior housing building. And all parking will be underground, all parking will be on-site, and all parking will be developed to code required standards for the city of Burlingame.
To cover the number of people.
To cover the uses, the size of buildings, the number of people expected to live there, the number of visitors expected to come through the medical office building, yes.
Just as dovetail, two traffic questions. Does that include employees?
Yes, so we are in the process of the city will be providing traffic impact analysis, which we'll be funding, but they'll be managing the process. There will be a full traffic study as part of what's called CEQA, which stands for the California Environmental Quality Act, and that's a state environmental set of regulations that every project in California has to comply with. So we have not started that yet. We're in the process of kicking that off with the city, and the traffic assessment is one of those items.
So it's possible that employees could be, the decision could be that employees are allowed to park on the street?
No.
No, the parking for all of the users of the building, including employees, will be captured within the code requirements and provided on site.
Okay. One more question, please. What will the, where will the entrances be to the entrance and exits to the project?
Yeah, I think so. That question, we can hit that if you don't mind at the station, showing the site plan. We can walk through the detail because there's quite a few different points depending on where you're trying to go, vehicular, pedestrian, et cetera. So if we could pause that and hit that in the station, that would be great. Thank you. Yes.
My question is, to return to the question about affordability, maybe to Midpen. In the metrics that you use to define affordability, which I understand about the median, that did you consult with Elder Index, which is a very commonly used and respected index for measuring affordability and what it costs for seniors or for people, you know, to live in a certain area?
Yeah, I'd be happy to talk with you more about the Elder Index. And what I would say generally is that for senior projects, we do target affordability at a particularly low level, below what we may target for a family project, because we recognize that when it comes to seniors who are living on a fixed income, having that lower target affordability is particularly important. So that's why I referenced, okay, 80% of the median income, maybe the top line for what's considered affordable housing, but for senior projects, as much as possible. We try to really primarily focus on units that are more 30% area median income, 50% area median income, units at a much lower level. But in terms of the specifics of the elder index, I'd be happy to talk to you more and learn a little bit more about that.
It's extremely useful, it's very easy to access. The county has used it, the Commission on Aging has referred to it, because really what it does is it also measures all the incidental costs that in a given area that are taken into consideration, so thank you.
Thanks.
Sure.
So the state, if I'm not mistaken, is mandating affordable housing in our various communities throughout the state, is that correct?
That's correct.
So does this project here, the affordable housing that would be built for seniors, apply to satisfying that requirement?
Yes, I think is the short answer. The state requires communities to plan for housing at all levels, including affordable housing, including very low-income housing. This project would go towards part of the city's satisfaction of planning, of doing that planning and satisfying it. Required in all communities. Yes.
So I just did the math, and it looks to me as if the affordable component is now 46% of the overall project. And as one of those who advocated for an increase above the initial 10%, I just want to say how appreciative we are of the fact that it is as large as it is now.
Thank you. Appreciate your work.
Yeah, these community meetings, we mentioned earlier, what you're seeing today is a result of the feedback that we've got, Carol. You've been very vocal on that for 6 years and consistent, so thank you for that. And we're listening. And it's interesting because when you have a project lifespan, this will take, this project will be 13 or 14 years before it's finished. And that doesn't include the time that Cheryl and her team have spent before we got involved. A lot of things change over time. So, we're trying to balance getting something that we can actually get done with addressing the constantly changing needs of the community demographically, pandemically, inflation, construction cost, supply chain. There's so many factors that go in. So we really appreciate that. Thank you. And we've listened and we're excited. We all unequivocally feel like what we have today is a great answer and is an enhancement of what we've done historically. So thank you. Yes.
Excuse me. What is your intention in regards to the property in San Mateo, the Sutter Health Mills Peninsula campus?
I cannot answer that. We don't have anything to do with that project.
Okay. Yes.
Nor does the district. I have no idea. Yeah, I'm sorry, I have no idea. Yes.
Bringing in this low-income homes, it would lower our value of our homes that we live there.
Say that one more time.
Bringing in this low-income homes would lower the value of the homes that they are there already.
I'm not sure if that was a question, but I think I understand there has been a long perception that having low-income households, low-income communities in a broader community lowers the property value, but that has been a perception for a long time that has been proven inaccurate historically, and there's a lot of evidence to show that having lower-income communities or a community that's serving people with lower incomes does not lower property values. And we definitely invite you to look at other Mid-Penn projects. And my guess is you would not be able to tell that it's affordable housing because it really blends in with the community. So I appreciate you bringing up that point. And what I would say is we've seen over time a lot of evidence that having affordable housing doesn't lower the neighboring property values.
Thank you.
All right. So looks like initial questions were filtered through. So thank you for those. Really appreciate it. Actually, was there one more question in the back? I saw a hand up. No. Okay.
I was just gonna piggyback on what Carol said with, thank you for affordable housing increase remarkable at this point. and thank you for taking that feedback from the community.
Yeah. Thank you for helping us get there. Yeah, appreciate it.